So what's going on, everybody? It's time to make time. Time to actually make the family dinner. So I'll show you what I'm making tonight. It's a pretty simple setup here. I'm gonna do a lemon garlic chicken on my Blackstone griddle with some veggies. Pretty healthy stuff here. If you notice with the chicken, I butterflied it. If you take these really large chicken breasts that a lot of stores sell, they're good, but when you cook them, if you sear them or you bake them, they tend to dry out. So I found that if you butterfly them, so they're about half the thickness from the packaging, I think they cook a little bit better. You can put a good sear on them. They still stay pretty tender and moist. Squeeze some lemons on here, butter. Always finish it with butter. I'm gonna cook with some canola oil to put some char on the vegetables and the chicken, but I like to finish it with butter. Adds a really creamy texture. This is just a blend of salt, pepper, and garlic. I got some sweet potatoes here with a sweet onion and some chopped bell peppers for color and crunch. And I'll go ahead and get started on the Blackstone. All right, so before I start cooking, I keep this Blackstone griddle. It's a Blackstone 36-inch griddle. I keep it covered. You always want to heat it up really hot and then give it a good seasoning. Wipe it down, cleans it and seasons it before you cook. And if you notice, you want to keep it as balanced as possible. It's a little more flow than I'm used to. I like to keep it centered where it's not dripping off to any corners too much, but for today's cook, this will be pretty quick. That will suffice. But you want to do this after the grill heats up really, really hot. Be very careful. Don't. I've actually had my fingers slide off of the washcloth, and it burns. It burns something fierce. If you're not careful, you'll leave some skin on this thing, and you don't want to gross out your dinner guests. So just be careful when you're doing this. And like, if you ever cook with cast iron, one of my favorite things to cook with is cast iron. It's kind of the same. This is cold rolled steel, according to the Blackstone folks, but try to keep it seasoned, not just for the non-stick, but just for the longevity of it. Turn it down just a bit. And when you're starting out to cook, it's a good idea to, whatever's going to take the longest, get that on first. So I'll start out with the sweet potatoes I showed you earlier, the sweet potatoes. So cut them down to about 3/4 inch pieces. But they're going to take a few minutes to cook and soften, so you want to get that going. Because the onions will cook a lot faster than these potatoes, the nice thing about it is they'll really have a nice caramelization on them, make them really sweet. And the sweet potatoes will sweeten up as well, but it's a nice side to chicken. Somewhat healthy. And I like this griddle top because I like cooking outside, but when things like this happen, oops, instead of it going on your kitchen floor or behind the stove or whatever, makes a big old mess, pain in the butt. It's nice to have it outside, and either if you have a pet, family pet, the local squirrels or birds come eat it for you. And plus, it's just nicer to cook outside, I think. While those are going, keep this about medium high over here. I don't want to burn everything, but you want to cook it pretty good. But with these kind of vegetables, they're pretty thick. Again, 3/4 to 1 inch pieces. They're pretty thick. You want to soften them up without starting your chicken too early. But if I want to speed up this process, I'll take some water to cover. more oil. I'll put my chicken down. And these green onions, or excuse me, these the green bell peppers, they're not going to take long at all. And you don't want them to wilt them down. You want them to still have a little bit of crunch. Cook those last. They don't take too long. Earlier in the video, you saw me touching these with my hands. I went inside and washed my hands. You don't want to cross-contaminate any of your food with poultry or any kind of protein. So inside this little jar here, and I clean this off as well. I did have some chicken stuff all over there, but I cleaned that off. And again, you don't want to cross-contaminate any of your food or get sick, get anybody sick. So this is just a mixed blend of salt, pepper, and garlic. You don't want to turn these over too fast. You want to let them get a good brown on one side. While you're waiting, give these a stir. You can see that the onions are starting to turn opaque and soften up. Squeeze some lemon on here now. The seeds and stuff inside, it's a good idea to kind of squeeze it between your fingers. You can still get the juice to come out. It's not foolproof, but it does help from the seeds getting in your chicken or any of your food. Or if you want to dirty something else in your kitchen, you can just get like a citrus strainer or a juicer or whatever. Trying to minimize the amount of dishes I got to do. Nice browning right there. That's the way I like it. You can go a little longer if you want. Come back over to your sweet potatoes. And they're softening up, but not quite there yet. So a little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic on the sweet potatoes. Get a little more liquid on here, get the steam going. So this is the garlic in the salt, pepper, garlic mixture here. It's actually granulated garlic. It's not garlic salt. So if you use that, you really want to minimize how much salt you put in here. This is granulated garlic. So I do equal parts. If you want to minimize salt altogether, you can use garlic salt and pepper. Kind of get your salt in there, but that's up to you. Trying to cut out some salt in mine and the family's diet. Now I'll start those green peppers. They won't take too long. Been cooking with this thing for some time now. And the nice thing about it is you can cook for a lot of people on it. You can see there's a lot of real estate. But you can also control without having to dirty up 2 or 3 pans. You just have this one pan, if you will. You can control a fairly large meal. I have a family of 5. You can control the meal to where everything is done at the same time. I have a similar griddle top that I take camping, and that's a lot of fun doing, camping breakfast. If you've never had bacon and eggs in the mountains, you haven't lived. Bacon and eggs and hash browns in the mountains, it's magical. You gotta try that. Make some time to go camping and do that. But cooking outdoors is one of my favorite things to do. Getting a nice brown on here too. They're not quite done, but I wouldn't brown them beyond this point. So now it's just kind of like doing managing your time. And this is a thinner piece than this one, so I can bring this one off to a little bit cooler spot. This is my hot spot. I know my griddle, so. And if you know that you're getting close to being done, I'll shut everything off on this side. Keep everything over here pretty hot. See a little bit of char getting on these bell peppers. Again, you don't want to cook them too much, and they just become all mushy and nasty. But if that's your preference, cook away. If you're into mushy nasty, go for it. But I like this little bit of char, but it leaves a little bit of crisp. And since I turned this area off, I'll slide this over here. And these are turning out. Even the sweet potatoes have a little char on them now too, which is nice. I think it adds a flavor and a texture component. I think you'll enjoy it. Slide these over here. The part of the grill that's been turned off. I want these to cook a little bit longer. The timing's going to be good though. Use my last splash of water. And that steam will take care of what I want to take care of. With chicken or a good piece of steak, you just kind of do it by feel. These are not quite done yet, but these are really close. And again, I think butterflying these rather than cooking that one giant chicken breast, I think you can control it better, and everything stays a little moist. It stays more moist. If that's been my experience cooking it like that. Yeah, these are right where I want them to be. This area is super close, so I found that you got to turn off both of the 2 right burners, or middle right and then the right, your left. This will still cook significantly hot, and this will prevent this from overcooking. This is close, really close. Another squeeze of lemon on here. Another bonus about cooking outside, got a little piece of that seed on there. Be gone. And I'm not littering, I'm planting lemon trees. We'll see if it grows. A little more SPG, not too much. I'm telling you, you don't want to finish these pieces off with butter. It's magical. Get it right on top of there. Let it bask. This is where you want your griddle top to be level, so your butter's not going to all drain to a corner or whatever. You can kind of control it here. Brown butter is good. It's good for flavor. Burnt butter, not good. You'll ruin the whole thing. So just be careful. Manage the heat. Move this around. these are just about done, so I'll move them over here so they can kind of chill out. Still cooking, but not to a point where they're going to get destroyed. Perfect timing. Family's home. So, let's finish up here real quick. A little more lemon. There's no recipe for this. I just looked in the fridge. I know we had some chicken thawing, and the vegetables need to be used so they don't go bad. So just look in the fridge, find out what you got, see what you got in there, and just get out here and get her done. Salt, pepper, and garlic, you really can't go wrong with pretty much any. I would say beef and poultry is perfect. Maybe not so much pork. I like pork on my smoker, but for chicken and beef, I think it's really good. Salt, pepper, and garlic is kind of the go-to, but whatever spice you like, go for it. Whatever will get you outside cooking, whatever will get you from going to get fast food or letting good food in your fridge go to waste. So that's kind of how this video was born today. Was I really wanted to cook a decent, healthy meal for my family. My wife and kids were out doing some stuff, and I didn't want anything in our fridge to go to waste. So be careful when you grab this. Sometimes it gets a little hot. It's metal. It's going to conduct heat. You can see this right here. I love that. And then, you know, you can see it's cutting pretty easily. It needs a little more time, which is perfect, because so do these. And if you time it right, just get out here and learn how to time each the side dish and the main dish, and you'll be eating a hot meal at the exact same time, and instead of waiting for something else to finish. And so you can see right here, since I turned everything off, it's still, the butter's not burnt, and it just adds such incredible flavor and to the finished product of the chicken. One last turn on these. They're still pretty crispy. I can feel them, but they're staying warm on this side, just like these two pieces of chicken. Yeah, something like this, or even broccoli on the grill with a steamed component like this is really good. I don't like steamed broccoli, but when you cut it up into maybe quarters or halves, and then you do something like this, and then you finish it off with a dollop of butter, or you know, if you're trying to cut out butter, use ghee, use rendered butter, so you can do that too. If I want this to cook a little bit faster, I'll just kind of create an oven effect right here with my last spot of butter. And let that finish off. But these are nice. They're soft, but they're not mush. They've got a nice little char to them. And again, that's, I think, flavor and texture go hand in hand. And when you have a good texture component to your food, just add something nice to it. I didn't put a whole lot of SPG on here, salt, pepper, garlic, but because I really want the sweetness of the potato and that sweet onion to come out. And then now that pat of butter that's added to it at the end, oh yeah, it's gonna make it magical. What's nice, I like the color combo too. Something about having a nice presentation of your meal too. Multiple colors on the plate, I think that's a nice touch as well. Turn off the heat now on all 4 burners. This stays plenty hot when you know you're done and you want to just wind everything down. Got one last piece of lemon. There's plenty of butter in here. See a lot of Teflon restaurants will do it like this too. We'll cook with butter, or excuse me, with lemon and chicken. So lemon garlic chicken, that's really good. just about done here. I'll show you what it looks like on the plate. Okay, so what was that, about maybe 10 minutes? Not even that. Prep work, another 10 minutes. It didn't take much time at all. And this looked like. So everything, you can still maybe hear a little sizzle. And these two pieces are actually done now. But there's no rush, nice and tender. Cooked all the way through, but still super moist. It's a nice thing about cooking on a flat top. And then the final presentation here. Again, I think that food, even if it's just a weeknight meal, to present it with some different colors and different textures. You can see the char on the bell peppers, and the sweet potatoes and onions are nice and caramelized, super sweet. You got the savory of the chicken with the salt, pepper, and garlic. And it's a really quick, fairly inexpensive meal. We're going to feed a family of 5 with all of this for, I don't know, about 12 bucks, maybe 15 bucks for everything. Not bad at all. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Get outside, get cooking. It's time to make time.